By this point, 11 people had quit. And just when I thought this nightmare was coming to an end, my star, my A player, my rock, she sends me a message and says, "Can we meet?" You'll know what that message means. What does it mean? I'm out. So I sit down with her. She tells me she's leaving. I say, "Why?" And she tells me things have changed at Crisp. They're not fun anymore. I said, "What are you talking about, not fun? We just went to Topgolf. Every day is a new lunch." She's like, "No." And I'm looking at her. She doesn't say anything, and I'm embarrassed to share this. I really am, but I'll just be real with you. I did everything short of get on my knees, and I said, "Name your price." Because I'd lost 11 people, and I didn't want to lose the 12th that was holding everything together. And she looks at me and says, "Well, I've already accepted another position. In fact, I'm taking a pay cut." I mean, if I could fall and this mic wouldn't come off, I'd do it. Are you kidding me? So I lean in and I'm like, help me understand what is going on. And the feedback that she would go on to share with me, I didn't know it at the time, I know it now, would go on to change my life for the better. The first thing she shared was that she had no clue where the company was going. None at all. And what that really meant was there's no vision. How could she know where the company was going? We had no written or articulated vision. Okay? How many of you have a written vision? You've written it down. Okay. Look around. You might get a "can we meet" one day. And I realized that how could she know? We had no vision. We didn't write it down. I mean, our vision was just grow. But what the team saw was like, okay, before we used to work with everybody, and now we're working with just lawyers. I don't understand. Then we're expanding into marketing and coaching, like the upheaval. Like they didn't understand what we were doing, where we were going, and because they didn't see the bigger picture, to my fault, they quit. So what do? Well, we set a 5-year vision. We wrote it down. It was to help 1,000 law firms grow their revenues by $1 million each, to make $1 billion impact in the legal industry. And this was important because if you can help a firm, we realized that if you can help a firm get to $1 million in revenue or grow by $1 million in revenue, everything changes. It goes from a solo firm, or even a small firm. Now you've got process in place, you've got systems in place, you can have a team. The impact that you can make and the clients that you can serve becomes exponentially greater. And we thought that if we can just help everyone do that, now that would be an amazing vision. Cool, great. Wrote it down, shared it with everybody. Her second piece of feedback, she's like, she feels like there's always drama. Everybody's blaming everybody. And what she really meant was, we had no values. And I said, hold on. We have core values. In fact, we have posters everywhere with our core values. Well, as it turns out, people do not learn from posters. No matter how many you have. I had them everywhere. It doesn't seem to work. So, what are core values supposed to be? Well, the definition is it's the fundamental beliefs of an organization, but really it's, if you look at it, it's like how work gets done, how people conduct themselves, and how decisions get made. And could I honestly say that as a leader, I was making decisions in 100% alignment with our core values? Absolutely not. Things had to change. And around this time, we had just signed the single biggest deal in the history of our company. $1.3 million. Okay? This attorney, who's in this room today, paid up front because they looked at it and said, hey, it's the end of the year, because this was back in November, and he said, I'm going to pay up front because I'm just going to deduct the whole thing. I'm going to save a little bit on taxes. So as we got into February, we learned very quickly that this gentleman, this isn't a picture of them, don't worry. They're a terror. They would be outright disrespectful to our team, would call them names, just abuse them. But it was $1.3 million. And I looked at this and I thought, well, something has to change. Got to lead by example. So I called this gentleman. I said, look, I just don't think we're a good fit. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, it seems like our values are not aligned, and we must gracefully exit this relationship. And he's like, are you going to give me my money back? And I said, I've already wired it back to you. The first 7-figure check I ever got, I sent it back. And we weren't going to work with clients who didn't align with our values, and we weren't going to work with team members that didn't align with our values. So when you're thinking about your values, what they really are is what you're willing to lose money over.